All this is Dr. Mobeen Sayed from DrBeen.com. Welcome to one more show. So this is a discussion that is interesting to have, and it is not just me who's having this. There is other folks who are having this discussion as well. And I wanted to. This is why I'm bringing up Bill Gates, not because I want to bring up Bill Gates. So whoever do not like that, it's okay. Just let me have this link here so that I can claim that it is not just me who said it. Bill Gates says once the Omicron variant passes, COVID will be more like the seasonal flu. So that is a discussion. So here are the references for the talk today. This is DrBeen.com. This is a Yahoo News Associated Press. Omicron may be headed for a rapid drop in Britain and US. Sort of, I was creating a video today or a presentation where I was going to say bye-bye pandemic. And then I started doing this California study discussion, and in that there is some data. I wanted to show that data to you and kind of share how it looks. So flu versus Omicron disease burden, crude analysis. So before we look at the analysis itself, so it's not a scientific analysis, it is the data sizes are not sufficient to do a scientific analysis. I want to show you this CDC's flu burden site. So here they talk about the flu, and look at this. For example, they say about 9 million to 41 million people yearly or annually become ill with flu. This is their estimate, and they have a way to estimate, and they discuss that how do they assess the burden. Out of those 9 to 41 million per year, 140,000 to 710,000 can become hospitalized. Out of them, 12,000 to 52,000 die. This is the general, overall, bigger picture. Then down here, they have a table. In this table, they have data for various years. So I'm going to use the data here for the year 2019 to 2020. Although there is an asterisk there, they're saying this data would evolve. And there is another general trend that flu has actually reduced since this pandemic because of so many factors. We are keeping at home, we are doing isolation, we are washing our hands, we are sanitizing better. So there are many factors. We are taking care of our older individuals more, we are protecting everyone more. And so there is generally, and because flu is also respiratory, we are wearing masks, we are making sure that the respiratory system transmissions are less. So of course flu transmission is less too. Still interesting data. So if you see here, in this year, 35 million cases estimated. Then the hospitalization, I'm not looking at the medical visits, I'm going to go to hospitalizations because I don't have the medical visits data for the Omicron. Hospitalizations, 380,000 people hospitalized, and then 20,000 died. So there are various numbers. 20,000 died. This is lower number, 28,000, 52, 38, and so on. So I used some of this data. So now I'm going to show you my, I call it crude analysis because sample size are different. On one end, we are talking about 52,000 cases in December for Omicron. And on the other end, we're talking about 29 million cases. So they're not a one-to-one match at all. Then the cohorts and the type of demographics and so on. Flu is usually more impactful to the older age. SARS-CoV-2 is kind of spread evenly, sparing the younger ages, but still evenly in the relatively younger ages compared to flu's impact. So not exactly one-to-one match. But let's see. Here is what I put some data together. 29 million flu season 2018 to 19. 29, I left the 19 to 20 because that data is still evolving. So I went 1 year before, which was more stable. So this is 2018 to 19. 29 million estimated cases, 380,000 hospitalizations, 28,000 deaths. The percentages are following: from 29 million to 380,000 hospitalizations, that is 1.31% of 29 million. So 1.3%, keep in mind, from flu to hospital. Then out of those who are hospitalized, 7.3% die. Out of those who are hospitalized. But out of all who got flu, 0.096% die. So from 29 million, 28,000 is a smaller number, but from 380,000 hospitalized, 28,000 is a larger number. So I put both numbers here in front of us. Now look to the right. This is Omicron, December 2021, last month. 60,000 cases, about 57,000, right? So made them 60,000. Was it 50? Yeah, 57. So about 60,000 cases. And then 88 hospitalized, 1 died. So the percentages are 0.15. If we take the unadjusted number, that was about 200 something. And so that would be, instead of 0.15, that would be 0.3. And then 0.0017 of the total number die, 0.0017. So compare this, 0.0017 versus 0.09. That is how different it is. Do you see where Omicron stands? So if I go to next page, again, the same data here, and I projected Omicron. So this projection is really not necessary. If we just look at the percentages, we are comfortable. And I should just correct this number 88 to 220 something. And that would change from 0.15 to 0.3. But still, even if we try to project Omicron to 29 million, we say, well, somehow, let's say, Omicron takes the places of flu and infects 29 million people. In that case, Omicron would cause hospitalization of 43,500, or double it if it is the 220 unadjusted number. Then that would be about 90,000 people hospitalized. Compare that to 380,000 people for flu. And then out of those 90,000, then 400 to 900 people who would die, compared to 28,000 people who would die. So when I look at this number, these numbers, and I can open up let me just very quickly show you the data. Just 1 second, my PDF is opening. It does a scan of the document first and takes time. So if I put that here, this is the data that we saw earlier. And if I go to the bottom of it and look at Omicron table 1, table 1. So here you can see the numbers. If we say any hospital admission cases tested in outpatient and then admitted 88, all cases 235. So we can go back here and look at this and either take 88, 0.15%, or 235. So 88 and 88, 160 plus another 88. So instead of 0.15, it would be 0.45%. 0.45% to 0.13% compared to flu is a lot different, right? And then number of deaths was 1 here. That is 0.0017% versus 0.09%. So I think that with this data, if this data is any indicator of the trend, Omicron would actually start being less severe than flu. And whatever factor we want to put in, I mean, so don't say that, hey, Mubin said that Omicron itself is less pathogenic and we don't believe that. Fine. Omicron has its own behaviors. In addition to that, yes, there is vaccinations in the society. There is previous infection and the protection from that. There is masking, social distancing, put in all the factors, put this society's composition like this, and then compare these two, and you still see that Omicron's number, at least from a trend point of view, look a much more milder compared to even flu. So will this actually then become very soon flu-like? My only worry is, for example, I am congested right now. I don't know if I have Omicron, and I have no idea if it is Omicron, what is it going to do to me, because there is no guarantees for anyone. So that is where I would request everyone to please stay safe, stay protected, keep your guard up. It seems like, if this is also correct, that Omicron is going to become even orders of magnitude milder than a flu's intensity, then let's not take a risk. Right now, there is Delta out there. Right now, there is Omicron out there. Omicron is also causing deaths too. So, this was the discussion. I'm going to give you a sneak peek of the remaining part of the discussion. Here is what I was doing. Look at this. South Africa, let me show you some more data. So can you imagine the homework I was doing? So let me show you some more data elements. Where are these? Here. So look at UK. Let's start from South Africa for a second. We saw that South Africa's wave very quickly went up and down, right? So within what they started on November 24 is when they, I believe, reported. November 21, Botswana had started, and then now by January 11, they're almost over their peak. And could we say that the virus has actually now blown through the societies, more vulnerable, more exposed, and maybe they have now immunity? They're done. Virus for them is done. The SARS-CoV-2 is gone. Pandemic is gone. Maybe now there is just a common cold-like thing, disease, illness that would prevail in the society, and some people would become sick. Some would even die as well. So that we'll have to figure out how to prevent that part. Is that vaccines? Is there more? Is there some specific genetic or vitamin D levels or obesity and others? Although the California data actually did not show a huge um, propensity of obesity related to Omicron damage compared to Delta. So I'll show you that data. So, anyways, very quick wave. Then, if you look at UK, they are also going very quickly back downwards. Look at it. So here, and now they are trending down as well. At one time, January 6, 181,000 cases. And then today, let's say yesterday, January 11, 156,000. So that is also trending downwards, UK. And what would happen once this wave goes down? Is UK done as well? They have a number of infections, they have vaccinations, then Omicron comes in and just goes. And what we do not know is how many asymptomatic. These tests are not really 100% reflection of what is happening in the society. There are asymptomatic cases as well. So will UK be then done in another 1 or 2 weeks? And if you keep your guard down, if you stay protected, if you stay safe, you can continue to be successful. I mean, we've gone through this pandemic for so long. I hope and pray that we come out on the other side. And then look at United States. So if you look at United States, I had downloaded this data today to do this analysis. I actually downloaded the data for last year for SARS-CoV-2 for a comparison with flu. So last year's SARS-CoV-2 data is orders of magnitude worse than flu. We have hundreds and thousands of deaths, and flu had thousands. However, Omicron's trend is very different. And of course, that means there is I'll keep repeating it. Communities, protection, the vaccines, the previous infections, the vitamin D's, masks, social distancing, everything. Look at this. US, if I zoom in a little bit, you can actually see that US is now trending at least a little downwards. I hope it continues to do it that way. And that would mean maybe in another, US usually have broader waves compared to other countries. And so even if it is broader, maybe in next 3-4 weeks, US will be done as well with the wave. And that's it. Then US would also have it prevailed, and nuisance, everybody is getting it. Maybe I just got it as well. I hope I stay safe with it, but um, maybe that is the situation. So I used that to put this together, that this is the AP Associated Press's heading. Omicron may be headed for a rapid drop in Britain and US. In there, they have this Ali Muqdad. It's going to come down as fast as it went up, said Ali Muqdad, a professor of health metrics sciences at the University of Washington in Seattle. And then WHO cited modeling from Muqdad's groups that predicted half of Europe's population will be infected with Omicron within about 8 weeks. This is January 12th, today's news. So within next 2 months, half of Europe will be infected. Omicron could one day be seen as turning point in the pandemic, said Mears at the University of Texas. Immunity gained from all the new infections, along with the new drugs and continued vaccination, could render the coronavirus something with which we can more easily coexist. This is what the virus wanted as well. At the end of this wave, far more people will have been infected by some variant of COVID. Meir said, at some point, we'll be able to draw a line, and Omicron may be that point where we transition from what is catastrophic global threat to something that's much more manageable disease. That's one plausible future, she said, but there is also the possibility of a new variant, one that is far worse than Omicron, arising. I think I disagree with this part of her comment, just like commentary or opinions are uh, up for discussions, just like people tell me many times that when I make a comment, it is incorrect. The having another variant that would be faster than Omicron, still more lethal as well, or staying like Omicron but more lethal, would still lose to Omicron, because both of these guys, so let's say we have one more variant that is as transmissible as Omicron, but more lethal. And if you put them on the society, the one that is more lethal is going to start knocking people down very fast, and it would not get enough chance to spread. And the one that is not keeping people down, that would spread faster. Now, you could say that, well, we would have the next variant that will be faster than Omicron plus lethal. And I mentioned a study 3-4 days ago where the researchers had looked at the changes in the spike protein and their compatibility with ACE2. And they had said that the ACE2 binding affinity has reached its maximum, uh, you know, firmness. So this is like it has become as fit as it could be. It cannot become more fit for ACE2. So that means there cannot be a more transmissible variant unless it changes its tactic for binding. And we know that even Omicron, when we say that it has two pathways to enter a cell, one through endocytosis and the other one through the ACE2, it still needs, even for endocytosis, it needs ACE2. And if it changes ACE2 to something else to become more transmissible, then that would be a new strain. That would be a SARS-CoV-4. I think Omicron is SARS-CoV-3. So we are not there. And I don't think it would be easy for us to be there. So at this time, at least to me, just like she has a comment here, I have a comment, and she could be wrong, I could be wrong. I think that Omicron will continue to be this way, and it would continue to knock out the delta from the society. And these are the references. So if somebody wants to see that where I got this data from, here are the references. So this is the discussion. I wanted to make sure that we look at, when I look at news and I look at presenters, I see so much fear mongering, spinning, attention grabbing, and I feel bad. I think we are at the end of the pandemic. I can tell you very honestly, I feel it that once the pandemic is over, um, there would be, what would I do? I do this every day now, right? I learned to do this in 2 years. But we'll all have to figure out our lives again. And it is a good thing when the pandemic ends. So I feel bad when people just keep tugging onto it. So, anyways, with this, thank you very much. If you would like to support this work, please like, subscribe, and share. And if you would like to support even more, then you can use the links in the description. You can buy me a coffee, or you can become a patron, or you can use PayPal. Thank you very much. If you allow me, I'm a little exhausted and congested. I would like to take some rest. So if we can skip on chit chat today, and hopefully from tomorrow, we'll continue back with the normal. And your prayers are needed. I am a little under the weather. Thank you very much. Stay safe and happy and healthy. Talk to you tomorrow.